Joyful day, beautiful beings, and joy for all things beautiful hearts. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Story Hearts Talk podcast. Guess who's back? It's me. Just super excited for myself, right? We're talking about investment here, people, and it's really a strange thing how doing unto people really does something great for you, right? But anyways, just I told y'all I'm in my heart space. So we are digging into the series. And so if you are new to this space, we are extending a heartfelt welcome. We are asking you to share this information with someone. Leave a comment. I think I have a poll going on. We will be having some links inside of descriptions that go to some investment, right? I've created a toolkit for us to help us self-activate. I don't know about y'all, but I realize we need to self-activate more, right? We renew subscriptions. We have to get our oil change on our cars. Like other things require maintenance. And we don't really consider as human beings how much maintenance we absolutely need. I mean, mind you, the world hasn't really slowed down to let us really do unto ourselves, right? It's work, 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 labor, labor, labor. And so that's almost what we're talking about. It's something that is going on around us that benefits from us and don't benefit us. And what this series is about, it is about educating us. It is about BLACK, right? We created an acronym, and it is about breaking cycles. It is about learning yourself. Yeah, you know a lot about the T, and you can clock the T, right, for people, and you know a lot about people, but you don't know a lot about yourself, right? And so we're breaking the cycles, we're learning ourselves, and then we are aligning our story, right? And then you are looking intentionally for conscious connection, right? People who you can consciously connect with about where it is you want to go. Stop trauma bonding with people, right? And then keep blooming. That is what's happening. That's what's happening in this space. And so how we've been going about this, right? Because anything can change, right? As we go beyond the story, that means we allow ourselves to supersize our consciousness. We allow ourselves to learn something new. And so if I see that you have figured out a more peaceful way to be peaceful, then I might adapt that, right? Then I might see how I can add that into my daily life. And so, yes, so that's this. We're going there, right? We're going there. So, and so this black investment, right? It's for you. Breaking cycles, learning yourself. Who really want to break some of the stuff? This is for the real people. The real people who really is overdoing the thing. Listen, y'all, I listened to Karen Hunter this morning on Sirius XM. It was actually recorded on Thanksgiving. She was rocking her black on black. I gotta go to her website to check that out. But from her statement line, y'all, she has a statement line. Guess who has a statement line? Me. Like, I don't know if many of y'all know that, but I love the fact that what I am doing is literally in the footsteps of somebody that I am deeply admiring right now, as far as just everything. So I am also going to be adding her link to the episode where she talks a little bit about Black Friday, right? And so we're not just talking about Black Friday as Black Friday. We're going behind the story about this Black Friday. We are digging into this Black Friday and this continuing narrative of what's been happening around us, that whether if we can see it or we don't see it, how it won't change unless we do something about it. Yeah, and that's what Karen Hunter means by is you being the algorithm, right? We are the algorithm. Nothing can happen without us, right? So listen to Karen Hunter. She go into her heart rant, and I love that, right? She goes into her heart rant. She talks about her statement line. She talks about what's the point of wearing something if it don't benefit you. Like, what's the point of, and then investing in what's around you. It's and I love it because that's where I am. That is why I am investing in you, because a better you equals a better me, and I hopes that you will invest in me too, right? And so yesterday we talked about the letter B, right? In breaking the cycle, we started from the beginning. So B is for break the cycle. And so how do we break the cycle? When we don't even know how the cycle even started. How we break the cycle when half of us don't even, is not even aware that we're on this hamster wheel or we're stuck in the matrix, right? How do we break a cycle if we don't even realize that we're in a cycle? That is a good question, right? And so I figured out a way to at least get us started, or to give us something to think about, right? Is to just talk about from the beginning. And so we talked about how in 1869 two gentlemen got together and was trying to do a hocus pocus scheme, and it did a whole thing to the stock market. From that, a lot of people were affected, and pretty much those things are still being played out today. And what that was had nothing to do with about investing back inside of the community. And that's what one of the things that we'll highlight in about Black Friday. What we make major corporations rich, right? Richer. They sit and strategically plan how they're going to collect your money. It's a thing. We know it, and yet we still help make them rich. Some people haven't been on vacation longer than an extended weekend. Some people haven't even been out of their neighborhood, out of their city, being able to travel and do certain things. And so all of that costs money. Yeah, but we're giving the money to the outside people. We're not allowing it to circulate back with inside of our community. And so that's what yesterday was about, breaking the cycle. And so today we are going into the next letter of our acronym, and that is L. So L is standing for learn yourself, right? And so we also are going to bring up some historical context, because I realize that knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe told us that knowing is half the battle. And the knowledge of yourself will saturate the love of yourself, that will then bloom into a respect of self. And you would never, ever, 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 I promise you, want to continue to be the unlearned version of yourself. Once you see, you don't unsee. You just make a conscious decision to ignore. Help me, somebody. Once you see, you cannot unsee. You just make a conscious decision to ignore. You can't unsee what you see, but you just make a conscious decision to ignore what is happening. And so, in the process of learning ourselves, I want to remind us that we have a choice. We have an opportunity to go beyond and do what other people have not done. Because since 1869, it's been known, and even past that, but 1869, the beginning of even the word Black Friday is connected to the market crash. And so we learning our history, learning what is happening, and to see that there is nothing new under the sun, to see how out of all that is what's happening, the areas that it ain't happening in, and where it has not changed, right? Where cities are not being the voice of the people. Do you know that your city has your money, right? You hound your brother and your cousin because they owe you $20. Somebody even owe you $5, and you're mad about that too. But your city has your money. That is our tax dollars that is supposed to be used for the voice of the people. And so when you don't learn yourself, no, learning yourself isn't absent of what's happening around you, because what's happening around you is 10 times out of 12 why you are and why the situations is what they are that you're facing. And so as we move into this acronym, right, as we move into this Black Friday investment, pouring into ourselves, allowing ourselves to be awakened and shaken by truth. And not just a surface level truth, but the truth that makes you free the truth that you already know because it's in your DNA, like you know it. And so once I saw, I could no longer unsee. And that is why I wear the glasses before all the frame stuff became popular, right? But that's why I was wearing the glasses without the lenses, because I no longer wanted to see anything. I no longer wanted to be a victim of a narrative that wasn't true who I was on the inside. Yeah, my circumstances, I'm a daughter of a crackhead and my daddy didn't bother, but that's not who I am from the inside out. That is my circumstance. That is the happenstance. That is that in this life you will have trials and tribulations. But that is not the power that I am made of, that I am, right? And so when I saw what I seen, I could no longer unsee. And then now you realize that your voice does matter. You realize that as you learn yourself, the circumstances, and paying attention to what has happened around you, you can't be silent. I am here to leave this planet in a better condition than I found it. I am here on this planet, in this flesh, by the name of Sierra, by way of my human parents, right? Here to make a change. And not for once in my life. But guess what? I tell you, it feels real good. I want to make it right. Right? I'm here to make a change. As many chances as I get, and I realize this, that the change happens when you're going through transformation. We still in the group of things. This is about learning yourself. And you think you popular and you got this ego by the stuff you identify yourself with. You got an ego because you got a car. You got an ego because you got however many zeros in your bank account. You got an ego because your eggplant or your peach. You got an ego because you spend that much money on red bottom shoes. Your identity, the things that we connect to, that we say that we identify ourselves. But who are you without those things? This is about learning yourself. Who are you without those titles and not those labels and not the tangible things, right? And so for generations, Black people in America were valued only for labor. And this is why we think, oh, we got to work. That is not how it was designed to be. Working, a man would have said, if a man don't work, he don't eat. And for some reason, that just applies to men. I do great things with my hands too, right? But my brain, my heart are beautiful assets to who I am too. That's all it was about. Labor, 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 labor. And that's why even Labor Day come, they honor us for just laboring, labor, 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 like, right? But rest is a part of resistance. Rest is a part of changing the narrative. Knowing you need rest is good, right? It's a great thing. And so during slavery, self-knowledge was intentionally stripped away. You knowing anything was stripped away from people. So knowing ourselves, right, when messing with our history, watering down the magic, trying to dilute the greatness, right? It messed with us. It did a thing. It's proven that the trauma that a mother experiences when carrying the baby in her womb is genetically transferred. And then this is why they would lynch people on a tree and make everyone see, or why they would do distasteful things to a human life and make people, slaves, people, less unfortunate people, watch, because they wanted to strike fear. And I don't know if they knew, but maybe they did knew. Like, I don't put nothing past cohesiveness, right? And so and at first my heart was broken. Like, I cried. But I had to put my bootstraps on. I had to get out of my way, because okay, they're intentional with causing harm. They're intentional with not including us. They're intentional with their actions, their words, and their deeds. I could start getting intentional too. Right? And so if I know that I'm the light of this world, if I know that I bring a good ingredient to the meal, right? Come on, y'all don't be hearing me. If I know that I bring a good ingredient to the meal, then I need to be intentional about that too, right? If I know that I am sent here for a purpose, if I know that I am the word in flesh, if I know that I am a spirit long before that I became flesh, and knowing these things, right? So if I know those things, then why don't I get intentional about my intentions too? Like those who we say do evil or do certain things, because they absolutely do. But I don't want to be so busy pointing the finger about what they're doing and I'm just around here not doing nothing. I'm just complaining and telling you more of what they're doing, exactly what I'm capable of, or just giving myself the opportunity to learn and to grow, right? So Black names, languages, skills, and traditions were erased. We know that. And so and this is why I encourage people to stop telling that story. Stop telling that story and live that story. Live that story out loud, unapologetically, boldly you, right? And so I tell people that I'm just dotting the I's and crossing the T's so you can read it like the story was written and I'm here to live it, and me living it is like a paintbrush, right? And it creates the picture. So if I don't do nothing, nothing happens. But if I do something, you're able to see. Whether if you want to agree with it or you like it or however you feel about me, you will be able to see. And all the world will see how great, right? They will be able to look on and see. Who is that? Eddie Murphy in Life said, they can tell by the way I walk, I ain't from around here. They gonna know. They'll know. They'll know. And so don't let history be erased, right? Who you choose to be every second of the day that turns into weeks, that then becomes months, and then evolve into years. The Jim Crow continued the control through fear and survival. I just talked about it, right? It's that pipeline to prison is real. Jim Crow is real. That fear was so deep, right? And the scare tactics, like they do even in Black Friday, come get it now, gone tomorrow, just all of the things, and we're using them on ourselves nowadays also. And so I'm not saying nor here nor there, but just know we must know our stuff, right? We got to learn ourselves. And in learning ourselves, we break free from the narrative, right? We can do something different. Because whose responsibility is that? Who are we really waiting on? So, how Black Friday disrupts Black legacy and community wealth, right? Yesterday we talked about it reinforces cycles of debt. And so today we are going to be talking about it recenters central buying over internal growth. That is how Black Friday disrupts Black legacy and community wealth. And I know I'm saying Black Friday, but I'm just talking about overall here, right? Don't be narrow minded that you missed the point. And don't get caught up on me not being able to sing that you tuned off and you don't get the message. Right? Because they thought Christ was just a carpenter's son. Don't get caught up that you miss the message. And so it reinforces external buying over internal growth. And that's why I said, I'm not asking you for anything. I would much rather invest in you instead of beat to the drum of this seasonal stuff, right? And then it's a cycle. Like nothing changes. Christmas, Thanksgiving, all this stuff, right? It's a cycle. It is literally a hamster wheel. And if you don't disrupt the matrix, if you don't do something different, if you don't hear your heart song so you can follow the beat and create and invent the thing that you're supposed to do that literally can change everything. Yeah, it will change everything. And so instead of investing in savings, mental health, education, entrepreneurship, healing, and community programs, people are people are conditioned to invest in things, right? To invest in things that really don't serve them. Like it's pop. I'm not saying we don't want to look nice. I'm not saying that but we were bamboozled, y'all. Can't you see? The okie doke was done on us. You mad at that person, you mad at whoever that you feel like tried you, but we're trying ourselves. Like if we can't see, Ray Charles can see this, Stevie Wonder can see this. If we can't see that it is time for us to do something different, and don't get me wrong, that there is an awakening happen, and I'm not expecting all of us to wake up. But for those who are supposed to be sounding the alarm, and for those who have something to say, it is time for you to be doing that. It is time for you to go beyond the story, right? Of your personal and systematic struggle, and figure out how you can turn that into an opportunity, and one that is not just for yourself, one that doesn't just give you freedom, but one that others can overcome from, right? One that becomes a testimony and a story that will be told about. It was said that, where did I just hear this from? That the stories of like Matthew and Mark, I can't remember the individual in the Bible, right? Was far before Bibles were even made. And so they didn't have scripture, but they knew the story. They knew the thing. They knew the part that they were supposed to play. And so they did their part, and now they are in the book so others can read their story. It's not any different between you, right? You must do your part so others will hear your story. This slows down legacy building. When we can't see our story, it slows down legacy building. Yeah. And so Beyond the Story came about, right? So it came about after I wrote my first book, Finding Sierra. I found myself really in a space I had never been before. And so that's the thing, like we want to plan for it. We don't want to do the transformation. None of us wants to heal because we want to know what the healing look like. What the healing gonna look like, how long, what it's gonna like. Some of you are stronger than you even think. But because you feel like you still stuck in the same story, you can't even see that you done already made yourself free, that you were more than meets the eye. Yeah. And so Beyond the Story, right? Finding Sierra, a journey to a better me, the only way out was in. And I had to disrupt a lot of things. So I mentioned that my mom was on drugs, my dad didn't bother. Now, I had to learn myself, and I realized I lied to myself about a lot of different things. Like, I made up stories. And then I made up stories and wanted them to be so true that I end up believing my own lies. Now, so when you're being judged and picked on because you don't come from a two-parent household, your mom is the drug addict in the family, and the world is on this cookie cutter fix of what households are supposed to look like, despite the fact that Jim Crow came to snatch our men out of our homes, right? It's madness. Although you're not getting the nutrients and the time and attention and the thing that you need so you can be this law abiding citizen. And so I did a lot of storytelling. And this is why I'm not into telling stories no more. I must absolutely live this shit out. I have to live this out loud, right? And it's y'all don't even, if you only knew, and you don't know. And so we can't judge books by their covers, although we do, right? We judge people by their covers. And it's awful that we do that. And so in learning yourself, don't forget that in knowing who you are has everything to do about what's around you, what you experience. You are not absent of those things. Listen, and I know it ain't been a peachy, creamy, rosy life for a lot of people, for a lot of us. It hasn't been. And so I'm not saying to take those things, I'm not saying to forget about those things, right? Because you can't really take those things away. It's okay that you can use those things, right? You add that and then you multiply it by who you are. Yeah, you add it to who it is that you're not. It's no different than adding salt to a soup, right? No difference than adding A1 sauce to a steak. Just with the A1 sauce, it probably would be nasty. So that thing that happened by itself could feel nasty still, right? But when you add it to something else, you change it, opposed to you allowing it to continue alter and change who you are, so you're not ready for the next chapter or the next thing. And it's probably the thing that you praying and you crying for and you hoping for, but when it meets you, you won't even be able to recognize it or see it. And so the L in our black acronym, that is about this Black Friday investment. This is about investing in you. This is about giving you self-activating tools. And in the description, there will be links. I think it'll be one link, but that link is going to open up to several different links. And so we have 3 additions in there. And so those 3 additions tied together with the bow is your self-activating toolkit. You are being invested in with your own toolkit. And I'm calling it your own toolkit because you get 3, let's just say 3 prescriptions to decide what you want to take according to what story that you're still believing about yourself. You get to choose which one you want to take according to what is ailing you. And so I have it as far as one prescription is about action steps, right? If you're a person, you need to take action to get things done, to be able to move forward, then there is an investment guide for you. And if you are an individual who needs some creative play in the midst of kicking behind, then there is an investment guide for you. And if you are one of the ones that like to write things down because that is how you embody it, then there is an investment guide for you. And although you're going to have the link to all 3 of those investment guides, when you put them all together, what do you got? You have a self-activating tool kit that is designed with you in mind to help you apply the don't framework. What is the don't framework? Thank you for asking, right? The don't framework is disrupt outdated narratives today. Yes, today, right? And you're giving investment guides to help you invest in yourself so you can learn your communication, right? You can learn the art of your self-communication as you continue to learn yourself, because remember, your knowledge of self will saturate your love of self, and your love of self will bloom into a respect of self, and then you will never, ever, 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 ever want to be the old version, the angry version, the this just how I am version, the version unable to flow, the version you will never be that old version of yourself again. Beyond the Story Black Friday investment series, right? This is Beyond the Story where our hearts can talk. Our hearts can talk that talk. So this guide helps you shift, right? It helps you shift your mindset. It helps you disrupt past dated narratives. It will allow you to tame expired language, because a lot of us have a stinky thinking. And then you are able to transform that personal or that systematic struggle into an opportunity that serves you. Into an opportunity that reminds you exactly who you are. Like, this is me hitting you on the head like Mufasa did Simba in Lion King. Remember, Simba, remember. Like, they needed to wake Xena up off of the comic book movie. I don't even know all the details, but I remember that part. And then Xena, right? She had amnesia, and they had to watch her because every now and then she'll have a flashback, and she blacks out, and just about everybody in the room dead. But she needed to remember who she was. And you, my dear, my beautiful being, you might have been caught up in this narrative of yourself that you couldn't see yourself. And I know because I've been there. But I also know that it is your sole responsibility to help yourself before you wreck yourself. Yes, so may I invest in you, please, soulfully, mindfully, and continually. That's the SMC way. Soulfully, mindfully, and continually. Because I know that a better you equals a better me. I'm not in competition. I ain't got time for it. I don't care about your feelings either, right? Because the world don't care about your feelings. We have to say humanly goodbye to our loved ones. We have to do some things, right? So, and the world doesn't care. The world is on its own time and it does its own thing. But I care about your feelings so much that I wanted to invest in you, right? Your soul, your mind, your story, your voice. This podcast is so our hearts can talk, right? So we can remind us that we are superlative beings. So in the description, right, we're done, right? That's it right there, right? So thank you for tuning in to the second series of this Black Friday investment series, right? And so we are going over the acronym of BLACK, which is B for break cycle, L for learn yourself, A, tomorrow is going to be align your story. We're going to get all up in there, right? Them stories that you telling yourself, them lies that you keep believing, we're going to get all up in there. And then we're also going to tap into some history about the story that we've been told, that we've been believing, right? That's been passed down to us because when you were born into your mama feels, your daddy insecurities, your daddy being choked by the Jim Crow law, and your mama still telling him to be a daddy, and the world still telling him he ain't a man and he ain't good enough. You were born into that place while still needing to navigate who you are. It's a lot. And that's why we must go beyond the story. And that is why I created this space so we can do that, right? And so after you align your story, you're going to choose conscious connections. When you ready, you ready. You not going to want to do the thing no more. Like when you had enough, when a woman's fed up, yeah, it ain't nothing you can do about it. Listen, when you fed up, it's like running out of love and it's too late to talk about it. That story gonna be, that old narrative gonna be trying to talk to you and it's too late. You tired of hearing it, right? But only until you fed up will you remain firm and consistent to live in a new narrative, right? And then after you do all of that, you will have yourself in a position that you can use the things that you have gone through. Right. Remember I told you we turn those personal and systematic struggles into opportunities, and now you're able to use that. You can advocate, you can start a nonprofit, right? You can write your councilman, you could go down to your city hall. There are things that you can do. There are things that you can use the situation and make a change. And so to keep blooming, right? I love analogies, I love metaphors. And so think about it, right? So if a farmer uses manure, and sometimes the manure is used, right? What is manure used for? To fertilize the soil. And what goes inside the soil? Seeds go in the soil. And what's inside the seed? You'll never know if it doesn't have the opportunity to bloom. But what is the manure made of? Cow crap. And the seed blooms in the cow crap or from the cow crap? Yes, it absolutely can. So when you feel like life has crapped on you, you get to use that and stop applying it like Maybelline and makeup and a nice mink coat or a pair of Jordans. Stop applying it and use it so you can bloom and keep blooming to your fullest potential. Thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Story, Hearts Talk podcast. In the description, you will have the links. I'm also going to post a link from Karen Hunter, who gave her heart rant about Black Friday. If you have Series XM, then absolutely tune into that. And then just type in the comments, Sierra sent me, right? So when I meet her, I'm going to be like, ah, all at first. Yeah, because I'm definitely a fan. And just tell her Sierra sent me. And then when I finally meet her by way of however, because I'm putting it out in the airways, I'm an algorithm and we are going to connect. And so just say Sierra sent me when you go to Series XM. And then also come to Beyond the Story and leave a comment, right? I think I got a poll going. Do the poll. Let's be engaged. Let's get out in this algorithm, right? And so that's it. Y'all keep smiling and you keep shining because a better you equals a better me. Catch you on the next episode.